Hey, good evening, guys. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening. We'll not wait too much for other people to join. In case they wish to, they can join later on. But since it's 2 hours and I wish to engage you also on some written activities, I would prefer that we begin right away. But before that, just give me a moment. I had to check in something here. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So Um, I'll start talking about this short while. Just give me a moment. Right. Okay, so this is basically a tutorial kind of a session. So, which means we are going to discuss a few things. We are going to look at how this works, with me showing you a few examples, discussing with you how the writing technique and all works here. Plus, I am also going to give you some exercises to work on, right? So, we are going to be using the peer deck for you to so that I can enable you to make you write, right? Today, you're not going to have any heavy writing. We are mostly going to discuss some preliminary activities. Tomorrow, you might be writing a full fledged email. Okay. So before we get to the email part, this a little bit on this workshop, right? So this is professional writing workshop. Initially, this used to be conducted as a regular session for English to students, right? So like we have learned the rope every week, but I was not very satisfied with the attendance as such. Even today, I am not. So I decided to do this as a workshop, right? So that everyone doesn't have to engage with it with it every week, but just come for small uh, parts of professional writing and not like a full-fledged professional writing class, right? I understand people can have other things to attend. They might have schools, colleges, or other courses also to go and attend. So I decided that this should be done more as a workshop, so that even if people want to take a look at it, it's not like a full fledged course like session, right? So people may feel burdened to look at it. So for that reason, this is the mode for this session has been converted to that of a workshop, and we are going to take only two parts of the professional writing, right? Two types of professional writing. So because email is something that everyone is going to deal with in your um, professional career, whatever point you are at, I decided to close it down to email writing, which is professional emails, not any random emails, professional email, and also report writing. So the second part of this professional writing workshop is going to be on report writing, right? For today and tomorrow, we are going to talk mostly on the not mostly, we are going to entirely be talking on professional email writing. Okay. So that is about why and what of the session. So I'm going to begin. How we're going to do this is I'm going to spend some time discussing on what we mean by professional writing, because there are contradicting descriptions of what professional writing means to different people, right? People might have different understanding of what professional writing is. I'll tell you about what I have understood from all my years of experience in what constitutes different types of writing and particularly professional writing. Then we move on to looking at certain aspects of writing professional emails. Of course, all of that we are not going to complete today. I'll see if I can finish the discussion on at least until the subject lines of a professional email. Rest of it we can of course continue tomorrow and get it to it, right? So that is how we are going to plan this one. And then, of course, you're going to, once in a while, we're going to stop to do some activities, right? Uh, Once in a while. And activities are going to be, it's not like a, activity, we're going to do some writing activity, right? We're going to check if we have understood what we have discussed and seen properly, right? Okay. So like you see on the screen, usually the other names that are available for professional writing includes scientific writing, technical writing, right? Formal writing. You would have heard these terms before, right? So if you are in either in a professional field or if you're even a student at this point, you might have come across these terms. Formal writing. Formal writing, definitely a lot of us would have heard. Then there's also something called technical writing. There's also something called scientific writing. And there's also something called research writing, right? Now, what I want you to understand is professional writing is the umbrella term, right? So whether it's formal writing or technical writing or scientific writing or research writing, they're all types of professional writing, right? um, they are there are subtle differences between how, or there are particularly when you talk about differences, there are stylistic differences, right? And what does style mean? The kind of language you use, the kind of tone you use to write down. There could be a bit of differences between or the kind of vocabulary that is allowed to write in the kind of writings that I mentioned. There could be a little bit of differences, there could be some variations among these types of writings, professional writings that I just mentioned, right? So, for example, say formal writings, they call formal because you are expected to use only the standard English as you use formal. A formal English basically refers to standard English. What is standard English? Standard English is usually the public school English, that is the English that you are taught at schools, not the conversational English that you use, right? And even in conversational English, you have formal and informal versions. So the moment someone says formal English, they're basically referring to the written forms of English, right? The English that you use to write, right? Write an email or write a report or um, even say write a blog, right? This is referred to as the formal English. So this is one kind of writing. Then you have technical writing. Technical writing is say something that you do when you have to write a technical report in your lab. Say a lab report that you write is basically a technical report, right? Scientific reports. Scientific reports, if it is more, um, not an ordinary lab report, but something that has got some, something that is used as a document for legal purposes. That amounts to scientific writing, right? Something that is produced at a research lab, that becomes a scientific report. Or say you conducted a case study on the effectiveness of a certain geographical area for the setup of a nuclear plant, right? Just giving an example. This is what, when you present a report, this is called a scientific report because you're going to use several parameters um, for parameters involved in that scientific study and then base your report on that, right? You use scientific methodologies to write your report. It's called a scientific report. And same is a research report. So anyone who's a research scholar, someone who's a researcher at any place, right? Whether in science and technology or whether in say social sciences or liberal arts or humanities, everyone has to submit a report of the research that they're doing. So this is called research writing, right? This is, I think, is a little more intense than that. It includes things like writing for the journals or publications, so on and so forth. But if you're looking at that kind of writing, then uh, uh, because it makes use of the stylistic features related to research, we call that research writing. But put together, all of them are, they are classified under what we call as professional writing, right? So this is the umbrella term, right? What more can be included under professional writing? More commonly that is available to us. Look at the second point: memos, proposals, manuals, presentations. So these are all examples of professional writing. What are they specifically? Do you know a branch of writing called business writing? Anybody aware of this? Do you know? Have you heard about something called business writing, business communication, or business English, for that matter? Yeah. When you in the corporate world, usually the communication is usually refer to as the either corporate communication, or they also call it as the business English, right? So this thing is usually seen in this examples that you see on the screen, right? Proposals or manuals or presentations, they all follow what you refer to as business English, right? So these two come under the ambit of professional writing. Okay, so the idea is that this is a large domain under which you can have several varieties of writing depending on the purpose and the need that you want to address, right? Now, no matter what you are doing, whether it is technical or scientific or research or business, no, they all are professional writing, and then they're all going to share certain common features, some characteristics, and that includes. Look at the third point. You have accuracy, of course. Now, what do we mean by accuracy? Accuracy of both language and content. Right? Your language has to be accurate. Your content has to be factual, right? You cannot write anything you want. So this is not your opinion that you're going to write. Professional writing does not include opinion piece, right? It is not about what you think about something or what you believe about something. It is about what you have understood and you've put together based on your research and study, right? So accuracy here refers to that. Okay? The meaning of accuracy here is basically the accuracy of both the language as well as the content that you're presenting. Second thing is conciseness, right? Second characteristic feature would be conciseness. Every professional document, every professional communication that you undertake has to be concise. Now, concise doesn't necessarily mean small, right? Concise, what does concise mean? To the point, right? So a lot of people ask this question: does concise mean to keep the length small? Now you look at something like a report, right? We'll discuss this when we are going to discuss it at length when we are going to talk about this in the report writing session. But um, we know several kinds of reports, right? Some reports are maybe just one page long, but we also know reports which can run into several pages, or even reports that are voluminous, like a book, right? So, say the government is trying to study the quality of groundwater in a certain region in India. Say, for example, say somewhere in Tamil Nadu, right? Thuthukudi. They're trying to study the uh, let's say the contaminants, right? Maybe say they're trying to study the levels of contaminants in the groundwater present around the region in Thuthukudi in Tamil. Now, this cannot be a one-page report, right? This is a study; it's a full-fledged study. So sometimes the presenting the findings that they present as a study is it is still a report. It's a report that they need to say, for example, submit to the government to make some policies regarding that, right? This is going to be a voluminous work. It's not going to be like a one-page thing or a few pages of thing. It's a full-fledged study. So in that case, you cannot say that, oh, because this is professional document and we want conciseness, we want to keep it small. The point of conciseness is not that you keep your content small, shorter in length, or you keep it extremely short and not, elaborate. You can make it elaborate, you can make it descriptive, but the point is that you should cut out irrelevant details. You should avoid redundancy in writing, repetition in writing. So conciseness basically means keep things to the point, crisp and sharp, right? Brevity. That is the whole point of conciseness. It doesn't mean write small or write short, right? Uh, no one's going to tell you that this report should only be written in half a page. Of course, your purpose will define what would be the length of your report or of any other document that you're compiling. But conciseness is about keeping things to the point, not keeping things small, right? Okay. Then adherence to specific conventions and standards. I think this is something that I already mentioned, right? You need to follow a certain framework or a certain stylistic feature that is applicable to the um, the purpose that you're writing, right? So if it's a scientific report, it will have its own language, its own vocabulary, its own style that's allowed, right? If it's a technical report, then more technical jargons are allowed because you're writing to an audience who are from your field, to a known audience. You're not writing for an ordinary audience. So based on your purpose and your audience that you're writing for, these features also change. Your conventions and standards change, and whatever the conventions and standards require you to do, this should be fulfilled in the document that you submit, right? So put together, this is what all these features, the accuracy, conciseness, and adherence to the conventions and standards is what makes any document that you write professional. Okay, right. So this is some, a quick introduction to what we mean by professional writing. I do not wish to go through these differences. I think it's very straightforward. By this time, you probably would have understood. But one thing that I want to, underscore in this particular slide is that remember that professional writing always has a purpose, right? It's not a purposeless thing, unlike your literary writing or creative writing, as it is called more commonly, or fictional writing, where your purpose is more to more subjective, it's more personal and more leisurely in nature, right? In professional writing, however, this is something that you write to inform, to persuade, right? Or it also has a sense for making a call for action. This is usually written only with a purpose, and the purpose usually ends in some kind of a result, right? It is written so that some kind of an action is taken or some kind of a result is achieved, right? Which is the reason why the language that you use in professional writing also has to be very different from how you put it together in literary writing. It has to be factual in nature, it has to be straightforward. You have to keep a very impersonal tone, right? No casual tones are allowed in professional writing. You need to keep your language more specific. You need to avoid all irrelevant clutters from your language. Why? Because this is a more serious form of writing. It's purposeful, right? Your idea is that you write this particular thing, sent for this document, and some action is taken on that, right? Or if not an action is taken, at least this is preserved as a document for future reference. Which is why everything that you use, beginning with the language to the tone and the style and everything, needs to be more objective. Objective means something that does not involve any personal opinions and judgments, right? Everything that you write needs to be based on uh, your research or your study or your understanding of the domain, right? Unlike in creative writing, which we know why it is done, right? Uh, the reader or the audience there is more general. It can be read by anybody and without any purpose. But in the case of professional writing, in the most of the cases, you're going to have a specific audience who are learned audience, who know what you are writing, who know your area, who know your domain, or from your field, right? And which is why your communication needs to be more straightforward, unlike in literary writing. I think that's pretty straightforward. I don't have to talk too much about it. So put together, if I'm asked to summarize what was I talking about for the past 10 minutes on professional writing, I think this is what I would say. That this is then a kind of writing where at least these four elements need to be achieved in both your content and your language, right? Which is, first thing, there must be both clarity and conciseness. By the way, clarity and conciseness are related to each other. If you keep your content concise to the point, then it will achieve more clarity. People will understand it more clearly than they can do with a cluttered writing, right? Audience awareness, very important, because otherwise you do not know what kind of words, the word choice that you require, the style that you require to compose your document will be lost on you if you do not know who you are writing for, right? Knowing the audience also helps you define the purpose of your writing, which in turn makes your writing more concise and clear, right? So they're all related to each other. Tone and style, of course, depends on the audience, right, and on the purpose. And then, of course, the last part, which is grammar and mechanics, very, very important. A lot of people avoid it these days. Even with the availability of things like AI assistance, a lot of people commit many grave grammatical errors, right? We know there are certain variations of grammar that's acceptable everywhere, right? But then, say, an obvious error in grammar, which could have been avoidable even if you're someone who did not know the language. We have all kind of assistants, language assistants available now. So if you're going to send for the document without even a simple grammarly check, then there is no reason why anybody who reads it should take you seriously, right? That's a sign of unprofessionalism, and that you do not care, right, for what you're doing. So please make use of every assistance and every checks that's available in the times that we exist. Do not close your eyes on the grammar and the style part of writing. Okay. Okay, so some additional features, of course, I think they all come within the ambit of conventions and standards. So, formatting layout. Please check what kind of uh, format is allowed for you to send forth. So, say for example, something that I can talk about more with more clarity is about say research writing, right? So if you have a research paper written, right, and when you it becomes more legitimized or it gains acceptance when you send it forth for publication and someone accepts it for publication, right? Someone thinks that this is a good enough material to publish. So while you do that, say you think that the paper that you have written, the contents of it fits say some 10 journals, right? Maybe you went through their the journal regulations and you looked at the scope of that journal and you feel that there are 10 journals who may accept this for publication. But you'll also find as a researcher that every time you forward a document, you might have to make adjustment based on what a journal wants you to do, especially with respect to formatting and alignment. They all follow their own styles of format and alignment, right? So every time you send the same document, although the contents don't change, you will have to change its layout. You might have to reformat it to fit the criteria that's followed by that particular journal, right? So the same happens for other kind of documents as well. If you want to send a letter, some people would prefer you sending it through an electronic medium like an email. Some will want you to send the same thing over a letterhead. Someone will prefer it be, prefer that the same thing be faxed, right? Unless, of course, it's a confidential information or something. So figure out what is acceptable. Okay, what template or what formatting rule do the receiver accept it in? That needs to be. This is something that you as a sender has to check before you send forth your documents to anyone. So that is what the that also becomes an additional feature that needs a check in professional writing. Then research and citation, because I told you this is a serious form of writing. Anything that you write needs to be based on some kind of research. If you have done research on it, then citation is very important. You have to credit people wherever necessary. You cannot pass off something that is not that, or something in by something I mean a thought. Okay, a thought or a plan or an idea which is not originally brought up by you. Okay, if it is not something that you have come up with, then you need to cite. If you have borrowed it from somebody else's study, uh, you know uh, in the due course of your research, then you need to cite it, right? That's very important. Editing, proofreading, very very important, right? You need to edit your uh, document for the content. You need to see if the content that you want to present is accurate, if it's factually correct, if it has followed a convention that it requires, right? If it's a research document, you need to see if your literature review is all cited properly, right? Have you included all the themes that you wanted to discuss to present your research findings, right? This includes editing, right? Proofreading is basically superficial verification. And what do we mean? What do we do at superficial level? A check on grammar, a check on spellings, right? All of this includes proofreading. Editing is more content based. You look through the content to see if your content is properly presented, right? But proofreading is more about the superficial things like, spellings, grammar, so on and so forth. Then professional ethics and adaptability. Again, this connects back to your uh, point number 3 and point number 1 and 2, right? Professional ethics connects to point number 3. Again, if you've borrowed, if you have taken someone's figures, somebody's pictures, images, all of them need to be cited, right? So that you avoid any kind of copyright infringement, all of those. Adaptability again points us back towards the formatting, layout, and document types, right? See if the content that you have generated is adaptable with what you're required to present, right? If not, you need to modify them. You need to realign them to fit the needs of the company or the organization or the audience that you uh, are going to present it to. Okay. So any questions from there before we begin talking about professional emails? Anything? You all can still speak, right? I mean, I don't think the microphones are disabled. Yeah, they're enabled. Any questions, anyone?
No, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So we move on to the professional emails discussion then. I don't think we need to, I have to tell you what an email is. We know. So uh, it is very similar to, say, what we used to refer to as letter writing, right? So in schools, we might have already learned about how to write good letters, but maybe email writing is not something that is actively taught in schools now, or maybe they are doing it now. At least from my times, since emails weren't that that widespread, at least at that point of time, it was never done. But we know if we have all written mails at some point of our lifetime. Some people write it every day. Some people might only need it at times. But even if it is just once, something that has been once in a lifetime affair for us, we know their purposes or their structure is very similar to that of what we call as letters, right? And particularly professional emails, they resemble very much to uh, formal letter. We're all taught formal letter writing in schools. Why do I say that? Because again, if you look at the emails, the structure as such, there is a sender, then there is a recipient, then you also have a subject line, right? There is a salutation line for you, then the body of the email, and then comes your complimentary close, and all of those things. So it's very, very similar to how you write a letter, right? I think the only difference would be that you don't use the date, right? So even in formal letter, you do this, from address, and there's a date, to subject line, and then the salutation body, complimentary close, same thing. Maybe the only thing that is absent would be the date, and that's because it's an electronic medium. It's anyway auto-generated for them. But otherwise, both in not just in the structure and form, but also in function, it is very similar to a letter, right? You usually write a professional email when you have certain kind of purpose to be delivered. It's not something that you write for, you know, random needs, right? So emails, in general, they could either be formal or they could be semi-formal, right? Semi-formals are usually the emails that you see that are sent across people working in the same organization who are at same levels, right? If you say are working in a company and your colleagues, they could be hierarchically above you, they could be below you, and they can also be of the same level as you, right? So semi-formal emails are usually sent by an individual to someone who's at their levels or is below them, right? However, the kind of emails that you can send to the higher ups, people who are higher in the hierarchy, is usually always formal, right? Even if you say you have a very friendly boss, very friendly manager, you still keep the communication formal through emails, right? You do not, I mean, there are conventions which we'll discuss in a short while, but this is how the hierarchy flows, right? Usually formal emails to everyone above you in the hierarchy, to people below you and at your same level in the organization, you keep it either formal or semi formal. That's your choice. Okay. Um, but more importantly, all your professional emails are in general also shorter in length than a letter. When you write a formal letter, you're allowed to write at least say about 120 words or so odd, right? You can explain in 4 or 5 lines about what the issue at hand is, and then seek an action. But in the case of an email, I think the medium keeps it very short, right? The maximum length of a formal email is not more than 80 words. Okay, that's a recommended size, or I don't know if I should use the word size or I should just say the length, right? The length of a recommended formal professional email is just about 80 words. So you understand how short you have to keep it. The reason being, this is the form of communication which is very commonly used in professional domains. And what is the speciality of the professional domains, no matter what profession you are in? what is one of the features that you can see across any professions, that it is, there is always a limitation of time, right? People don't have time. Everyone's busy. People work on a schedule, right? They don't have time to sit and read your long, lengthy emails. So you keep it to the point. So to the point that sometimes you just leave one line of email, professional email, telling them just what they should be doing, telling what the next person should be doing, just one line on what they're required to do. So this is facilitated, or this kind of writing, extremely short, purposeful sentences is allowed through emails. Maybe this is something that you cannot do with a letter, because of course we know that letter has other constraint. It takes some time, for it to reach people, and by the time they read and then they communicate, it's not a very handy thing, right? It's not something that makes your life simple. But emails, yes, you can keep it extremely short because you can always get back to the person in case you need any clarification, right? Which is not that ordinarily easy to do in case of letters, right? Um, so shorter length. This is a reason. Maybe this is one of the practical reasons why you see emails to be uh, quite shorter in its length as opposed to a letter, right? So yeah, that is more or less the purpose, and the differences that you may cite between a formal letter and an email. But that is okay. These things are not very important. What's more important for us are these, right? Whatever the length, however people perceive it in the professional world, we need to know more about when this is used as a professional medium. When you use email as a professional medium for communication, what are the things that you must keep in mind, right? So I have, for the ease of understanding, I have divided the etiquettes, email writing etiquettes, into three broad categories. One is the general guidelines or etiquettes, writing etiquettes, and also other important etiquettes and guidelines. We'll just read through them. Some of them are self-explanatory. Wherever it is necessary that I tell you things a little more elaborately, I'll tell that, right? Okay. So first one is follow proper email format. Check that the recipient's name is correct. Now, this looks very silly for a workshop like this that I am telling you, please check your recipient's name. But isn't this a common error, right? Uh, we, we often do not do that, right? So say, for example, I want to send an email to who's in the call. Let me check. Uh, I can't see your names. One second. Mm, yeah, say I have to send an email to Aditya, right? There could be several Aditya on my list, right? So when I'm sending an email, especially this is applicable to people in professional domains, right? You would be communicating maybe say something that is very sensitive. The information that you probably are sending is a sensitive information. So if I'm not going to keep a check on which Aditya am I sending this email to, uh, given the circumstance that I might have like some 4 or 5 Adityas on my list, this is a breach of trust, right? This may not be my intention. This probably is an error, it's just a minor mistake. But the cost of such minor mistakes could be sometimes your job, because you ended up unknowingly though sharing something that is sensitive or is confidential to the company with somebody. And why this happened? Because you did not check the recipient's name properly. So as silly as it sounds, why should this be a guideline? Isn't it obvious? It's not very obvious when put into practice. A lot of things we know, but we do not put it to practice, which is why this needs to be uh, drilled, time and again to people. Please check your recipient field before you click on the send button, right? So this is important. Please do not forget. Proofread the email, yes, because we do not want to look like a silly human being with all grammatical spelling errors in our emails. Uh, this also directly tells the reader of your email how serious you are about these things, right? These things in the sense about the matter itself, not the grammar and the spelling. Okay. Then comes writing guidelines. Now, this one is particularly with respect to the writing of the email. We're going to see that a bit more when you're going to discuss structure of email. But general writing etiquettes: use your emojis or emoticons sparingly. Sparingly is what I have put it as, but then I would also like to say, do not use it. as much as possible, please stay away from all these emojis and emoticons, right? This is absolutely not something that is required. Then you have use of shorthands, right? Use of shorthand only if you know it is a universally accepted abbreviation, right? If it has got a universal acceptance everywhere, if everywhere in the documents, even in professional documents, you are familiar with their use elsewhere in other professional documents, you may go ahead and use them, but do not come up with your own shorthands in writing, right? Third thing includes short and specific subject line. I'll discuss this at length when we are talking about subject line. Uh, Email must be concise. We already discussed why. Appropriate salutations. Again, salutations are a very, very important part of professional emails. Do not skip them. Write them and write them properly based on conventions. The first thing we are going to discuss in professional email writing is actually the salutation. So I'm going to do it in a short time. We'll take it up. Then writing tone, right? Writing tone basically refers to the language you use. So I think I told you, right? Language has to be direct. Write simple sentences. Do not write complicated, lengthy sentences, which can create confusions for the reader, right? Plus, keep your tone very objective. Do not be very casual in dealing with professional writings, right? Then the next other guidelines or other etiquettes includes use of the email fields, which includes the recipient and sender field. Then respond to emails promptly. Now, this is something again people would ask, how much time can I take before I respond to somebody's email? Now, the answer to that question depends on who is writing to you, right? So, if again the hierarchy comes into play here, if it is your boss, if it is your manager who's writing to you, seeking an information on something or some clarity on something, usually the response time should be somewhere between 2 to 3 hours, right? Immediately or between 2 to 3 hours, you can respond to their email, right? Anything more than that, will invite unnecessary attention onto you, right? They probably will send you they'll send you another email asking for clarity. In the corporate world, usually that kind of delay and slacking is not taken very well, right? So yeah, 2 to 3 hours should be the maximum time that you sit with that email, right? You should ideally be replying to it immediately, but given some unforeseen circumstances, maximum up to 2 to 3. This is for people who are higher up in the hierarchy. For people at your same level or people who are subordinates to you in the hierarchy, you can take up to 24 hours, right? Maximum 24 hours to respond to the email, not more than that, right? For people who are outside your organization, say this is, we are not talking about people within your um, you know organization, but we say we are talking about someone who's outside your organization, right? Then in such cases, you may want to respond at least within 2 or 3 days. But in such cases, the first thing that you should be doing is responding to them. Tell them that okay, that you've received the email and that you will be responding to them in a short while. Okay, and then you may take another 2 days, right? Tell them that you'll get back to them in a couple of days, and then get back to them with a detailed response to whatever they want to uh, know from you, right? So responding to emails is also something that one needs to be very clear about. The time frame of response is also it's also decided uh, with neatness and with some very strict rules in case of professional emails. Yeah. Last thing here, avoid responding to emails if angry or non-composed. Right. So obviously, this is not applicable just in the case of emails. Generally, you are not expected to respond to anything if you're not in the right frame of your mind. If you're angry about something, if you're not, uh, if you don't feel okay responding to it that point, it's absolutely okay. You can just send in a line of response saying that I would reach back or I would reach out to you very soon, right? That should be a courtesy email. And then, of course, once you are settled, you can respond to it, right? Anyway, so that is about the general etiquettes of email writing. Now we are going to talk about the actual contents of a professional email, right? So in a professional email, what you're going to see is the 1 and 2 you can reverse in its order actually. I think it should actually begin with the greetings, right? And the subject line should follow that. Sorry about that mistake, some jumble up. Okay. Anyway, so in an email, you begin with the greetings, and greetings are sometimes also referred to as salutation. Some people might prefer calling it the salutation, right? Uh, so, everything that you see, like respected or dear, so on and so forth. These are the greetings or the salutation section, followed by the subject line of the email. These three purpose, details, and closing remarks. This is part of the body of the email, which means these are three different sentences which you will see in the body of the email. And then the complimentary close, which is basically, warm regards or yours sincerely, whatever. And then the signature. Signature is basically your name and other details. In professional emails, you need to always sign off using your full name, your designation. If you're a student, then you need to mention the address of the university or school that you go to. If you're in a company, then your name, your designation in the company, and the company address, completed with the contact details of the company as well. Okay. Some people these days, I think they also add their social media profiles, right? Like maybe a link to their LinkedIn profile or a link to their X profile or Facebook profile, right? People who are mostly in the marketing field, they do that because that helps them reach better, right? The client can also reach them better with that. So this is not an absolutely necessary thing, but if you think that it's going to be useful for the kind of profession you are in, then you can also add your social media profiles along with the signature, right? The signature you can save them in the email, right? You don't have to write it every time. The At least the Gmail provides you an option to save your signature beforehand, so it comes automatically with all the emails you send, so that you can do attachments and enclosures. Actually, for emails, you don't have enclosures. Enclosures is something that is applicable to letters. So enclosure is a physical copy, right? Attachment is more like a electronic thing, right? So for emails, usually what you have is attachments, enclosures. All right. Uh, so this all we discussed. Now I would like to discuss a bit more with you on the informal language, but I think I'll come back to this a little while later. I want to begin talking about the format and formality for emails, which is the first part of it, salutations, right? And I'm going to talk about salutations for writing a professional email. We have it divided in three parts. One is the salutation used in the beginning of an email when writing an email to one person. So say there's one sender and one receiver, right? And then second case is when I'm writing it to several people, and then the third case is when I'm writing to someone whom I do not know, who's a stranger to me, right? So these are the three cases that we are going to discuss to understand the conventions of writing salutations in a professionally. Okay. So could you take a minute and look at that slide and tell me how, uh, from what is your observation of, what happens from more formal to less formal, right? That this thing that you see, this is a scale of formality. So beginning with highly formal to the least formal, what changes do you see in the writing of a salutation in a professional email? Just take a minute, look at all the four options there and tell me what differences do you see. Yeah, anyone?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in the first option, it is about
Yeah.
to a very senior person or very respectful manner,
Okay.
and in the second, it's like as an customer executive or anything, uh,
Mhm.
or you can say a much younger than you or anything. So
Okay.
it's saying only
So,
dear.
yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but just remember that when you talk about formality levels, we are not really concerned about who's senior to and who's junior to you. Even if you say senior and junior, this is not based on your age. This could be just based on the designations that you occupy in the organization,
Yeah, ma'am,
right?
it can be respective of the respect. We can say respect, giving more respect like this.
Ah, Also, this is, yeah, I think in the context of professional writing, the word respect is not that again important. It's more about politeness, right? And if you're talking about politeness, then this is all of them are polite forms. It's not like, hi or hello is less polite than the first two forms. But
Yeah, ma'am.
this is, see, what is ingrained in the four options that you see here are the differences of the hierarchies or the situations that is at hand. So if you look at the first option, dear Mr., Mrs., or Miss Selvam Selvi, uh, we use this because we probably do not know that we know the person's name, but we are not familiar with the person, right? So two reasons could be, one is that they're higher up. Okay, they're above us in the hierarchy, so we really do not have the space to call them just by their first name or just tell hi or hello to them. One reason is that, hierarchical differences. Second reason could also be that they're unfamiliar, we do not know them, right? They probably are in the same company. We might have seen them or have talked to them once or twice here and there, but then our familiarity levels with them is very low. So these are usually the two instances where you use the first kind of salutation, right? So begins with dear, followed by the title, right? Depending on whatever is suitable in that case. You have the title of the person, dear, followed by the title, followed by the person's. Here, I have only included the first name, but a more formal version would be to either use the full name of the person or the last name of the person. Just don't worry, I'm writing it down in the chat before um, in this. So, dear, title, full name, or the last name of the person. Right. This would be considered the most formal version. Right. Uh, so, two instances for this. One, when the person is above hierarchy, is above you in the hierarchy, and second, when the person is not familiar to you. Right. You use this dear followed by title followed by the full name or the last name. Then comes the second one, which is dear. And then, so you see that this one is without a title. You're not using any title, right? So, what do you think this is? Is this a person who's familiar to you or non familiar to you?
Like familiar, ma'am.
Familiar, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Uh, so, this is basically dear and followed by the first name of the person, right? Second. So, what is happening here? This person is a familiar person. And is this person at the same level in hierarchy? Sorry, is the person above you in the hierarchy?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the person above in the hierarchy? See, dear and first name. It can be. It can be, right? This is not a convention that is very commonly seen in India, but if you look at worldwide, you can use this. You can call someone uh, by their first name with appropriate salutations like, a preceding dear. It is formal enough, but this is also a person who you know. This person is someone who's above the hierarchy, but above you in the hierarchy, but it's also someone who you're very familiar with, say your immediate manager who you report to. They are above you, but then you know them very well, right? So, dear and the first name is a formal enough expression for them. Okay. Third one, hello and then first name. Hello and first name, or say for that matter, the last one, hi and first name.
In
Which
the
one is
third one,
Same in hierarchy.
is this is same level. This is somebody who is either at the same level or this is someone who is below you in the hierarchy, right? Hello and hi is usually reserved for people who are at your level or who are below your level. There is another one. Sometimes people don't even use hello and hi. They would simply use the first name. Okay, like for example, they'll just say, John, I would like you to send so and so, so and so, okay, through an email. So this again happens to people who are at the same level, who you're extremely familiar with, or someone who's below you and you're again very familiar with, right? So hi, hello, and followed by first name or simply the first name, all of them are reserved mainly for people who are at the same level in the organization or the ones who are below you and are also super familiar. You know them very well. Okay. In any case, when you do not know the person, even if that person is, below you in the hierarchy, what would you use? The first version, dear, title, full name or last name. Okay. Unfamiliarity is what is going to pull you to use that formal version. Anything that is unfamiliar must be approached formally. That's the whole point. Okay. All right. Any questions there? Very straightforward, right? It's nothing confusing here. Then we move on to the second type, right? So this was writing an email to one person. How about when you're writing it to several people? You have three divisions here again, from more formal to less formal. Dear all is the more, or say the most formal version, and the least would be hi. Hi and hello, they are not very different from each other. We can probably put them in the same category, right? Not very, very different. But dear all is like the more formal among the three that you have here. Now, I have a question for you. So, say for example, you're writing an email to a bunch of people, right? And in that bunch of people, there are people who are hierarchically not similar, right? So, say you are sending an invite to 10 people, and among those 10 people, two of them are more important in the sense that they're hierarchically on the top positions. But you are planning to send out only one email to all of them. So, how would you compose your salutation? What do you think?
On
With
dear all.
D.
Yeah, Gurpreet, go ahead. You say what you're saying.
Ma'am, I start with dear all.
Huh, but that's what I'm saying. That if say there are hierarchically distinct people in that group, dear all is like a general thing, which means everyone who you're writing to are on the same level for you. But if say this is a combination of people who are, so for example, say the uh, I am the dean of students here, and I want to write an email addressing both the student community as well as the faculty members. So how am I going to write an email? Of course, I cannot say dear all, right? Because there are hierarchy difference between us. So how do I coin that in an email?
Hello.
I'll address them separately, right? I have to address them separately. I will have to say, dear members of the faculty and students, right? Uh, that's how I have to write, because I have to acknowledge that I'm writing to do two different communities. Two different communities are involved here. I need to do that. Right? I need to address it in that way. So that difference I'm going to show, dear members of the faculty and students. But say, for example, I have more important names in there, right? There are people who are extremely important because of the position they hold. Say, I also have to write to the director. I have to also include the director in this category. Then what do I do? I
I
cannot say dear
respect
director of IIT Madras, right?
respected.
Because director is one person, I know everybody. Everybody knows them. Respected, you don't have to bring in here. Keep it dear. Dear is formal enough for everything. How do I write it? I'll have to write it as dear professor, right? That is the title. I don't say Mr. because if there are people with other titles like doctor, professor, you know, what else, surgeon and all that, you use that title because for them that title is more important than Mr. and Miss, right? So, dear professor, what do I write?
Ma'am, we are talking about emails, right?
We are talking about it. What else have we
So
been talking about?
email we have tried different like dear this like that.
Sorry,
Ma'am, can we
I
use
don't understand your question.
respected instead of dear?
You don't have
Uh,
to use it. That's the whole point. That's not required. People do use it's
uh,
equally replaceable, but it's not a compulsory thing. Dear is a formal expression in English. It has got no other meanings.
But when someone who is respected, I mean, who is elderly, may I use the respected instead of dear?
Yeah, that is what my answer was. That's your choice, but there is absolutely nothing wrong in writing dear. Dear is a formal expression. It has got no other connotations. You want to write respected because you want to show more respect, well, up to you. But dear is not read otherwise. People are not going to say that, oh, why did she write dear? I'm such a respected person. Dear is a very formal expression in English. It's used for formal expressions. Okay. And so here, in this case, what are we going to write? Dear Professor, name of the director, right? His last name is Kamakoti. So, let dear Professor Kamakoti, members of the faculty and students, right? So I have three different people, all the three in different hierarchy. Based on the order of hierarchy, I write them down in the salutation. Dear Professor Kamakoti, members of the faculty and students. So this is something that is of relevance to all of them, but then I cannot put all of them in the same bag because of the hierarchy difference, right? So when there is a very important personality who needs an addressal for the common message, you keep that person separate, and then the next who comes in the order of hierarchy, and then the next, so on and so forth, right? This is
Yeah,
how you write email to several people who are at different levels of hierarchy. Yeah, any question?
we have to mention that the most respected person to their with their name, right?
Yes,
In email.
yes, if the name is known, of course. I mean, if it's a respected person, people will know the person's name, obviously. So that you need to mention, right? I wish I could show you some examples, but then the problem is my those emails are not meant for public display. So, I mean, it contains information which I cannot. So, otherwise, I would have shown you. I'll do one thing tomorrow. I'll try to make a space of
Like,
just,
like
maybe
normally,
sorry, I cannot hear you.
when normally we use actually with like deer and like that, but I never heard like we mentioned that particular person about. Maybe I'm not able to. Maybe I not see any business email, right? Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that would probably the case. You probably never received any email like that. That's why we get it on a daily basis. We've seen the different. So, please mute yourself if you do not have a question. You're disturbing the session. Okay. All right. So this is one way you can address several people, and particularly several people who are at different levels in a hierarchy. Parveen, please mute yourself if you don't have a question.
Can you give some show any email like that, or I can get from Google?
I cannot show it from, I mean, right away because I need to mask it for the information it contains. I'll try to show it to you tomorrow. Right. Right now, I do not. I can't show it to you just like that. Okay. Uh, yeah. Mm, okay. So this is one. Yeah. So this is the second context in which you formulate a salutation. The third one is when you're writing an email to someone whose name is not known. You don't know the name of the person, right? What is the usual, um, convention? Just say dear sir or madam, right? Dear sir or madam. Of course, I'm aware of the, uh, changes in languages because of the inclusion of more social categories such as the third gender or the LGBTQI plus and all. I am still not sure how that thing works because a lot of people who identify with that particular social category, who believe in gender non-binary and all, they choose the pronouns for themselves, right? So uh, you if you are conscious and sensitive to such categories, you could ask them how, how do they wish you to address them. But in other circumstances, usually a general way to compose a salutation when no other information or the identity of the person is not known to you. Until now, the convention has been to just leave it at dear sir or madam. Okay. Some people I've also seen saying to whomsoever it may concern, but in a professional email, it's not something that sounds very polite, right? To say to whomsoever it may concern. And also, it's more like a language of the letter, the official letters or the semi-block letters that we see in government offices. Email is more of a warm medium than letters. So people would expect you to keep it a little polite, right? I think the best option should be to keep it as dear sir or madam. Also, sir or madam is not technically something that has got to do with gender or sex as such. Usually, you can even refer to females as sir. It's not necessary that you call them madam. I've seen these conventions where people even address their female, officers as sir, right? But anyway, since this has been a convention for a while, people do use both dear sir or madam. And if you do not know particularly the gender identity, sex identity of the person, then you simply keep it as dear sir or madam. If there are any other additions that I have known of for conventions based on the changes in the gender categories, I'll let you know. But at this moment, I am not very aware of how that works. Okay. Or best thing, say hello. But then if it is a more professional email written to a stranger, then hello is not something that's preferable also. So for professional requirements, in cases where you're unfamiliar and where the person is a stranger or the person is someone who's purportedly above you in the hierarchy, dear sir or madam works. In all other contexts, when you're writing an email to someone whose identity is not known to you, hello, right? Although it's a lesser formal version, right? Sorry, yeah, uh, least in the formality scale, right? Hello. Mm,
Ma'am, I have a
Sorry,
question.
sorry, ma'am. Can you tell which gender you're talking about?
Which gender am I talking about? I'm not talking about any particular gender. I'm saying in general, this is how you write.
Said that no,
Whatever
some
the
like
gender.
they don't mind if they talk. Like we have to ask them what we have to.
And that's a different thing. You have these days the question of gender is a very complicated category these days. There are something called third gender, or there are also other social categories associated. That's not our study material right now. We're not in a gender and development class.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
there
okay.
are people who are going to use these categories. Some people may mind. So if that is a concern, then you can always write to them asking what would they prefer you to address them as. But in the case it is unknown to you, of course, the only way you can do it is using either dear sir or madam, or just say hello for less formal occasions and for less formal hierarchical relations. That's what I'm.
Ma'am, I
Okay,
have
ma'am.
a
Okay.
question.
Yeah, Parveen, go ahead.
Yeah. So, see, at times we need to, send a carbon copy or blank carbon copy.
Hmm.
Then, in
Hmm.
those cases, how would we,
Hmm.
write this salutation? So, do
So
we?
CC, no, so carbon copy, blind carbon copy, that is not a point of concern for you with salutation, because see, they're not the most important people who you're addressing to. They're just kept in loop because certain things need to reach multiple people, right? Maybe because there are things that they have to arrange on their end. So they are not your direct addressees in the email. Salutation is for people to whom the email directly talks to. CC and BCC is not for that, right? They are only informants. They're kept in that loop because they need to arrange something that becomes a part of the action. They are not the direct addressee in the email. So they do not affect how you compose your salutation. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. This one, I think we already discussed that we could simply say hello or hi, or just put the person's first name. And but this can only be in the least formal kind of emails. Um, Yeah, this is just to, this particular slide is just to introduce you to some commonly used verbal complexes in email writing. Just read through it. That's all. Just read all those sentences. You don't have to uh, learn anything. Learn in the sense, just see how these words are used. Lines. Okay. Okay. Now, before we go to the exercises, there's, I think, one more thing that I left behind is the instances of informal language, right? So, we spoke a lot about, what formal language means, how it is important in the writing of email and all that. I would wish to talk to you a little bit about what makes your language informal, right? How does any kind of composition, whether that's email or any other forms of professional writing, what constitutes or what prompts your language to become informal? We have about 5 instances. There could be more, but I have only included the more uh, important ones, or important in the sense the one which are commonly the common contributors to informal language, right? The first one is group jargons. Group jargons are usually any kind of in-group specialized language. So to provide you with an instance for it, I think, say for example, if I have to give you an instance from our workplace, we are all divided into different, teams uh, in the online BSc degree program, right? So there is a team that works on translations. There's one team that works on, question paper and logistics associated with it. There's one team that works on support. There is one team that works on content creation. There's something, another team that works in the studio, right? So there are several teams. Now, each of these teams, when they communicate with each other over work, right? Anything that is related to work, they may have specialized terms to talk about work to each other. So, say something like a word like QP, right? QP is question paper. So you're not the QP team. They're called the QP team, and then they have several of these words like QPs or back end or front end. These are some of the phrases and words that you will constantly you will hear them use constantly while they're communicating with each other. Now, if I am, say, from the content team, or if I belong to the instructor teaching team, I'm a course instructor and I don't belong to that section of the team or that part of the team. If I go into a meeting that they have, or if I go sit among them, I probably will not catch the conversations on work that they have as easily as their team members, right? This is because there's a lot of group jargons, or what is called as in-group specialized language. So that is something which is a lingo that they use among themselves to communicate. I, as an outsider uh, of the team, may not understand what it is, right? Institute, the larger place like an IIT, the IIT Madras has, um, it has its own language, right, which is also called as the Instilingo. So someone who's not a part of that community is not going to understand what is being said, right? The words that's used, some kind of grammatical endings that people use here must be confusing, must be ambiguous in its meanings to people who are not part of that community, right? Because professional writing is something that is written for uh, you know uh, official purposes, for purposes that are more serious in nature, purposes that require you to take actions on something, it is advised that you do not use any group jargons or specialized language while you compose a professional document, right? Beginning from an email to even more voluminous documents like reports or letters, right? Because it can create confusions and ambiguities. The meaning, the purpose that you're required to communicate to people will be lost because of the jargons that you use, group jargons you use. Similarly, a second instance of informal language is the use of slangs idiomatic expressions and colloquialisms, we are talking about informal slangs, idiomatic expressions, and colloquialism, right? So all of this may have formal versions of them. Okay, those are allowed in professional writing, but anything that is informal, okay, why is it informal? Because it is not accessible to a larger community. It is something that is only spoken in a certain social, by a group of people in a particular social class, or a group of people who are of a certain age, who belong to a certain age group, or a language or register that is used by people who belong to a certain geographical area. So if these kind of slangs and idiomatic expressions are used in professional documents, this can create confusion for the reader, right? Some examples are here, right in front of you. We know some of them are common to geographical areas, right? Like, so for example, macha, sema, and akka, anna, and all that, or even other words like yo, yolo, you all, ASAP. These are all something that belongs to the what we call as internet language or social media language, and even in the social media language used among a specific age group of people, right? So such expressions are considered informal, and they are not advised, right? They're strongly advised against using them in professional documents. Third category, stereotypical and biased language. Now, stereotypical and biased language can have several categories. So, stereotypes or bias can be based on the gender of the person, based on the class of that person, or maybe say race or ethnicity or religion or caste or anything, right? Even disability for that matter, right? Uh, if you if your language reflects these kind of biases in writing, then that needs to be removed in order to make your language more formal and professional. I have included only examples of the gender biases, but remember that there are more categorical biases that can happen based on all the categories that I mentioned, right? So, some examples: mankind, manpower, chairman, man-made. All of these words can be replaced with neutral terms, right? Something that doesn't have to obviously tell you that there is a man involved here, right? Use more neutral terms so that the other 50% doesn't feel excluded, right? Yeah, please. Who has a question? Ask.
Ma'am, I am searching for the meeting link for from 5 o'clock, from 5 p.m. But I was not able to join because English 2 is not even in my calendar, but it is in my course.
What? You are not in English too. So, which
No, ma'am, I am in
group are you
English
from?
2 course, but I am not receiving the calendar link through which I can join the meeting.
Please
And
write
it's
to the
saying,
support, Soumya Joy. I do not know how those things work. Ideally, it should be available on your calendar. If you have not subscribed to it, maybe it is not available. If there is a problem, even after subscription, you will have to write to the support.
Yeah. So my question is,
ma'am,
ma'am,
is this link
that
is same for tomorrow's class?
Sorry?
Ma'am, I am not getting tomorrow's link too. So if I want to join tomorrow's class, so how can I join it? I managed to find this link today from Python course. Some
Okay.
of my friends send this link to me.
Right.
go to week 0. There is a link of course calendar, and on that link you will find the link of English to join the live class.
Yeah, try that. And I also find out why you cannot see the link if you have already subscribed to the course, right? If you're not in the course, then you probably would have not signed up for that as well. So if you subscribe to the calendar, I don't think why there should be a problem with finding the link. Right, Sonali, what was your question?
So my question is, ma'am, how can we identify that this is a stereotypical or biased language? Because
Uh,
this is like all the words mentioned is very like we use
hmm.
like often used these
Yeah,
kind
we,
of
we,
words,
we, we
mankind,
use
man.
them often without, okay, we use them often and we are not able to figure them out because biases are like that. You know, they're coalesced with our everyday language so you know, I mean, so seamlessly that it's difficult for us to identify them, right? There are ways to find it out. How do you do that? You need to check if the vocabulary, if there is a different word available for this, right? So, for example, if I'm using the word mankind, right, what am I referring to?
Uh,
Humans.
to the humans, yeah.
Human beings, right? Human beings, right? So my understanding of mankind, I already know it is human beings, right? I know I'm talking about the humankind or human beings for that matter. So the question is about then why am I writing mankind, right? I'm writing mankind because this is how I have seen these words being used, right? The larger writings are quoting these words or using them so much that it has now become, I'm conditioned to use them. So this is a deliberate, this is an activity, or this is something that I have to do deliberately, right? I have to use and find them in the writings of other people and my own writing. I have to watch it closely to understand how this bias is working, right? How do you identify it? You need to look at your own writings. You need to read other people's writings, right? Compare it with written documents that are written in two different times, right? Look for older formats of writing, formats in the sense, in general, you know, the written language from say a few decades ago, and then look at how people are writing now, right? This is a corpus analysis. You will have to look at different documents to see how these words have undergone changes, right? So one thing was what I was referring to in the beginning, you know, the gender pronouns, right? Some people now the he, she, and her and him distinction, some people do not accept that. Uh, they have a pronoun like they, right? So now, based on the social changes or historical changes that happens to us, we see these kind of uh, linguistic changes in the way people use it. So we need to be more alert about it. I do not know how else to tell you this. It's of course not possible that you scan every document that you get at hand, but we live in the age of social media, right? So a lot of these things usually get to us through that also. And if it is something that is formally combined, then the institution tells you. The forget its name. I think it's the MLA. Like MLA is the um, is an association which tells you about what is the um, you know language as well as the citation techniques of putting a research work together. So for us researchers, they have this MLA document wherein there is one whole chapter on how to avoid bias in written language. So if you're writing something like a research paper, you of course get it like in this format, like an MLA document. Otherwise, the more commonly seen biases is of gender, so people avoid that as much as possible. Other things, of course, conventions will let you know, right? Someone will call out somebody saying that this is not the way to write it, and then from the next point onwards, people make sure that it doesn't. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
got it,
al-
ma'am.
yeah. Also, I think when we were discussing figures of speech, remember we spoke about something called euphemism.
Yeah, yeah,
Remember?
remember.
Yeah. So euphemism is also this figurative use of language is also one way people solve issues of biases, right? You use that to ensure that you keep your language free of offense and or what is also known as unpleasant writing. So figurative language is also one method, like using euphemistic phrases helps to some extent, and then if it is more of a professional zone, then they will have documents, they'll have manuals prepared for you, educating you on what kind of usage is considered problematic or biased. Okay.
Okay, okay. Understood, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is this Soumya still here? I'm in the course. Can you please help me out? Point is,
Yes,
I was
ma'am.
able to help. Huh.
Ma'am.
Were you able to see the link at least now?
No, ma'am, I am not able to
Not
see
yet.
the link.
Are you subscribed to the course and the calendar?
Yes, ma'am, I am subscribed to it.
Then why can you not see? Then it could be a technical problem. You might have to write to the support to find out why you cannot see. Because everybody who is subscribed, I'm sure they can see the link. Is that the case for others?
Ma'am,
Yeah, ma'am.
ma'am, I want
We
to
have
say one
subscribed
thing.
and we can
The other
see the
courses I
link.
have subscribed, they are showing solid color circle, but only English 2. Sometimes English 2 is not showing regularly in my course, but very frequently it occurs in my course. And when it occurs, it doesn't occurs as a subscribed subject. It occurs somewhat like additional activity or something like that.
Please write to the support,
Even though I am
Samyota. I don't
subscribed to
think
it.
that is. Yeah. So there seems to be something else going on with your profile. Please write to the support and find out why this happens, because this is not something that I can help you with, unfortunately. Looks like there is some problem with the subscription type for you. You write to them about the issue and they'll get back to you of how to rectify that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, can you please let me know what we are discussing today, because I missed almost all the class.
So how do I say everything now once again?
Not
Now you'll have a
everything, just
recorded
a
session.
little bit.
No, listen to me. This is a recorded session. You can access the playlist later on once your this thing is fixed, right? You write to them immediately so that you don't waste more time, right? So this is a recorded session. You can run through what I've, because I've said a lot, many things. It's tough to summarize it in few time, and there are other people in the call, and I also have time restriction up to 6. So sorry about that. You please watch the recording, and if you have any doubts, please write to us, and I'm ready to talk about it again. Okay.
And where to write?
Sorry.
So, if I have any doubt, where to write?
Doubts on what? About the session?
Doubts on, yes, yes.
You can write to the forum. No, you have access to the forum, at least I hope, if you're subscribed. So the discourse forum, I meant, you can write there. Just tag me, I can come back and reply to you. So okay. So yeah,
Ma'am,
we
can
were
you
talking
give me
about
your
the
email
stereo.
ID?
I will do that at the end of the session. Okay, please wait for it.
Okay.
Okay, so stereotypical and biased language includes all of this, right? So you change mankind to humankind or human. You change manpower to, what can you change manpower to? Human resource, right? Usually that is what you use in a human resource. Chairman, you can simply say chair. You don't have to say woman or man or anything. Simply say the chair of the meeting. That's a neutral term. Man-made, man-made. How do you change man-made to something that's more neutral?
Synthetic, artificial.
Synthetic, yeah,
Artificial.
synthetic or artificial. That is one thing that you can. Um, some of the few words that you can use to replace man. Yeah, informal phrasal verbs. So phrasal verbs are allowed in formal writing, but you have to ensure that they are formally used. How do you find out if they're formally used? You look at the corpus, right? You read through other people's emails or other people's emails, in the sense whatever is available in the general domain, right? Look at what formal expressions are used by people and see what phrasal verbs go in there, but do not use anything that is informally used. Why this is used is because why I decided to include this in the instances of informal language is because phrasal verbs are usually the category of verbs which are used only in conversations, right? And we're talking about writing, professional writing, right? So phrasal verbs then do not figure as commonly in your writing in professional domains as much as your other verbs, right? More formal kind of verbs. Try to not use them as much as possible, but if you're using them, make sure that they are the formal phrasal verbs. Some examples of informal phrasal verbs, actually a lot of them, but I just included a few here for you to understand. Lie down, duck out, off, ask out, right? These are all considered very informal in nature. To know. Yes, yeah. Do not use them in professional or formal writing, right? Contractive forms or contractions, right? So the short forms, I'll, you've, she's, you're going to expand them. If you're writing I'll, you have to write I will, you have, she is or she has, okay, or she was. So she apostrophe S could stand for all the three. She is, she was, she has. So whatever you want to write based on that, expand it. Don't write she apostrophe S, right? So yeah, some instances, there are several more instances, but this is the more, you know, uh, how do I put it? If you use them, then that's considered a grave mistake, right? It's considered thoroughly unprofessional. There are other minor ones, but that's okay. If you're able to cover at least this much, you can avoid these many instances, at least 5 of these instances, then we are good to go for as far as professional writing is concerned. Okay, just give me a moment. I want to share the screen with you. I'm thinking if I should go any further, what is the thing that comes next? Is subject line. Okay, this we'll discuss tomorrow. I'll give you the questions to work today. Yeah, just give me a moment. I'll share the link with you. You can log in and then answer the questions there. Just give me 1 minute. Once. Just give me a moment. There's something not right with those slides. I'll just another minute. Okay, yeah. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you may ask me till I can get to that slide.
Ma'am,
Yes, go ahead.
yes, ma'am, I want to ask, since you are talking about professional writing,
Hmm.
there is a kind, I think, called business writing, and
Yeah.
when we are approaching something that is more philosophical, rather opinionative, and we have to present it in front of in front of an audience. So, what differences are these two sections have in them?
Can you make this question a little more sharper? What exactly is the difference that you're looking for?
I want
Are you
to I
looking at the
want to
difference
say, when we do business meetings, we
Yeah.
need to be very clear, precise, and as simple and effective we can be. But when
Hmm.
we address our thoughts and opinions, uh, suppose our research,
Hmm.
something that we have done research on, or some of a book. So then, do we have the freedom to express ourselves
Hmm.
rather informally, even if doesn't make sense, even if doesn't make sense in the even it doesn't make sense to the audience, what it should sense to them.
Mm. So, are you asking me the difference between how you place something in uh, the professional writing terms or and the business writing terms, or are you looking for a very
Yes.
specific?
Yes.
Uh, um, so no, see, this clarity and accuracy is not something that is only applicable to business writing, right? It is also a kind of business writing or business, or let's say business communication. It's common to that as well, right? Professional writing is the word that you use for any form of writing or any form of communication that requires all these qualities, okay, which is of accuracy or conciseness, right? Whether you're speaking or whether you're writing, in general, let's use the word communication, right? Communication mean it could be the means could be anything, right? The mode could be either speaking or writing or anything. All of these elements that I mentioned, that applies to both clarity, accuracy, conciseness, following of the conventions and standards. All of them are applicable everywhere. So business meetings are also no different from that. Business meetings also would require to have all of these things, yes or no, right? You cannot go on talking whatever you want. You need to prepare. You need to go to the meeting with a manuscript ready. It's just that you're not going to read out from the manuscript. Take the example of a presentation. All formal presentations need to have a manuscript because your time is limited. You're given, say, 15, 20 odd minutes to speak. So if you're going to not be ready with a clear manuscript to talk, a rehearsed manuscript, you're going to overshoot the time limit, right? So if you're told that it's only 15, 20 minutes, automatically you have to ensure that your script or your speech or your writing, whatever it is, timed, and timing helps you keep it more concise and clear. As in all other qualities of conciseness and clarity, they automatically come in when you time it, right? Because you can't say anything and everything you want. You have to choose between what is relevant to the presentation that you're making. Examples, you cannot give 5 examples. You will have to among the 5 you have to choose the best example that can convey your point, right? So in that sense, all these qualities are applicable to all forms of professional writing, whether it's technical or scientific or business or anything. Is that what you were asking? I don't know. I was still not able to understand the question clearly, but I.
No, I was trying to say that when we read or do this kind of manuscripts, we are pretty clear what we are trying to do or what we are supposed to do. But uh, but say when we read some abstract text or some philosophical text, uh, we see some structure that are pretty prolonged,
Hmm.
and they make sense. They doesn't make much sense, but they seems too beautiful rather making sense.
No, in professional writing, please don't go behind beauty. Clarity is more important than nuance. As long as you're able to communicate your points clearly, you have done a good job on professional writing. Other things are advanced, right? Once you are in touch with the language, you are exposed more to the stylistic aspects. Gradually, you learn how to write them, but they are
So,
not the most.
ma'am, are these kind of things are only stylistic,
They are
or
stylistic, of course. They are not conventions.
So, does they have any real effective value?
Of course, they have some value. It is effective also because it is widely accepted, but it's not necessary. There's a difference between, what is necessary and relevant versus what makes things effective and, uh, beautiful, or for that matter, impactful. So, in the case of writing, the advice is always that you choose the clarity over anything else. As long as you're able to convey your points clearly, it doesn't matter how stylistically beautiful your writing is. That is a advanced stage that you can train yourself to write that a little later. But functionally and purpose, if you look at the purpose that's at your hand, it's more important that you write with clarity than going behind the choice of words which can make it look like uh, you know a very beautiful piece of writing. At least professional writings do not demand that. Okay,
Okay, ma'am, I have my answer.
yeah. Okay. People who are in the call, did you get the link? Are you able to join it or not? Why am I not able to move it? Yeah. Can you see it, guys? Are you able to join it or not? Where are you? Are you all in the call or not?
Yes, ma'am, I'm in the
Yes,
call.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to join this link? I have given you a link here on the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am,
Sorry,
Yes.
in the
joined.
chat. Okay, all right. Fine. Then we'll look at that. You see some questions there. Let me. So the first one I think you can see here now, right? A colleague messages you to ask if you're free for lunch. This is for you to coin the appropriate salutation after having decided the formality and the familiarity levels in each of the situation. That's the task. Take a while, just write it down and then we can discuss it. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 situations. Just judge the situations and coin an appropriate salutation. Keep 2 points in mind. One is the formality levels based on hierarchy, and the second one is the levels based on familiarity. Check both for each of the situations and then write it down.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, in the first instance, it says a colleague messages you to ask if
Hmm,
you are free for
hmm,
lunch. Ma'am, in
hmm.
that case, why would I need to put a salutation? Probably I'll answer either yes or no. So I'm sorry, I'm not able to understand as in why. I think here salutation is not required even.
But if you're writing an email, you need a salutation, right? Have you heard of people asking for team lunch and all that in professional zones?
But then yeah, even in my office also, we don't write. As in, if I'm free, I'll say yes, I'm okay. I'll be joining. We don't write
Ah,
any salutation. So
yeah, if you don't want to write a salutation, you can skip it. That's according to you need to judge it based on a situation. That's exactly the question.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. I think we can, there's almost 5:40. We can take a look at them so that we can solve the other two exercises as well. So I did not see your answers. Let me check that first. Okay. So uh, people are still writing, but I don't think we should be spending too much time on these things. It's a very easy activity. So yeah, the first one that you
Ma'am,
have,
I'm
this is,
submitted.
ah, that's,
Uh,
oh, no
teacher.
problem. Yeah. So, first situation at hand, like, some people, like it was just said that, okay, I would just say yes or no. I would not even, but that is when you are responding to it, right? If you're writing people, if you're the one inviting, right? If you're inviting, then again, will you simply write an email saying that, are you free for lunch? If it's an email, I did not see who was speaking. Who was
Yes,
that?
ma'am, this was me. Yes. So
Praveen
yeah,
Kumar. Yeah. So if
yeah,
you,
yeah.
yeah,
So if they're writing to me, so
no, you are writing to them. They are not writing to you. You are the
okay.
writer. Ah,
Oh, I am the writer. Okay, yeah. In that case, of course, I'll write hi. I'll start with hi then.
yeah. Okay,
Okay,
that was the question. Okay.
okay.
Anyway, so anybody who thinks that anything else beside hi, hello, could be used here? Usually you will just keep it like that, right? Hi, or you'll simply say hello everyone or hi everyone max. Nothing more than that, right? Any other forms of titles or any other formality expressions like dear and all is required. It will look odd, right? You're going to use all that for inviting someone out for a lunch. I mean, this is not a official invite to a banquet or anything. This is not a company lunch or anything. You're simply asking people if your colleagues if they are available for a lunch, right? That's all. So, informal situation, like or the least formal situation you can find in the formality scale. Simple hi or hello should work, or hello everyone should work, or hello team should work, or the if it's just between two people, then you just use the person's first name, right? Uh, Familiarity is a given thing. You're not going to go out with someone who you do not know at all, right? You're not going to write to them, to come out for lunch with you. Second one, what did you write? Someone who you do not know writes to you to ask for a job, seek a job.
Hello, sir slash ma'am.
Mm,
I will
how would you?
write dear
Huh, huh,
Mr. Probably I'll write
mhm,
dear Mr.
okay,
XYZ. Then I'll
mhm,
start my you know
okay. Think,
conversation.
somebody has written, dear sir or madam. Will that be okay?
If
Dear
I know
sir or
that
madam.
person, then I will use their their
Mm,
last name
mm.
also because
You
uh,
can use the last name. My question
yes,
is on dear sir or madam. So you're basically treating this person as someone who
Yeah,
you do not know.
yeah, we can try that.
You can
I
write
don't
dear sir or madam.
I don't think so,
Um,
ma'am, because I know that
you don't
person.
know.
That's the reason he is calling. I'm writing to
Yes.
him.
Huh. I mean, if you're asking for a job, at least you can uh, try and figure out the person's name, right? If you're applying to a company, it's not a random person. We are talking about professional
Ma'am,
emails.
if
I
we
reiterate.
don't know the name as mentioned in the
Why
question,
do
if
you
we
not
don't know
know?
the name,
Why do you not know?
because
That's the question. No, no, forget about the question. We are not dealing with question now.
okay,
The question doesn't have it. That's a different story. If you're
Okay.
seeking a
Yeah.
job somewhere, you will know the person, right? You're writing to say either an HR, or if it is someone else who you wish to recommend you to the job, then you know their name. If you do not know their name and designation, what else are you going to talk to them? This cannot be a random email sent to some random person whom you don't,
If I
right?
am seeking, yeah, if I am seeking, then it is okay. And if
Correct.
someone seeking me, if I am an HR and someone seeking me and I don't know the name,
Ah,
then we can use hello, sir or ma'am, or dear sir or ma'am.
no, why in both situations, why should there be any anonymity? I do not understand. Someone who's writing to you also should know you, right? If they're seeking for a, they're trying to seek employment under you.
No, no. When I am replying to him or her, they are seeking me and I am replying. In that,
What is the question? Someone who you do not know writes to you to ask for a job. That is the situation. Somebody is going to write to you seeking a job. So how are they going to write the salutation? Will they
so
include your
they,
name or will they
yeah,
not include your
they, dear HR, hiring manager, they'll include that. If they know my name, then yeah, they can also write my name also.
That is the question. They have to, right? HR is not an entity, it is a person. So HRs are known to people. If you're writing to, say, you're writing to Deloitte, will you not know who's the HR there? HRs have profiles, right? So you know who they are. So, yeah, you ideally include the name. You have to. See, not knowing people's identity is a rare circumstance. Particularly when you're seeking job and all, these are all public personalities. They are not hidden away from the public domains. They have their names, they have profiles everywhere. So it's a practical thing, right? You must include them. So when you do that, of course, you have that format that you use, because this is also someone who you're unfamiliar with. You only know them in the sense you've seen their profile, but there's your interactions with them is not, a given thing. So you're going to maintain that formal expression, the first thing that we looked at. So dear, followed by the title, Mr., Mrs., Miss, and then the
So,
name of
ma'am,
the
I'm
person, the last.
currently working as an HR, and
Yeah.
I get very emails which do not mention
Mm.
my name and only mention hiring manager
No,
or
they are not
HR.
writing. They're not writing it in the proper way. That's all. Do you have a LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So people who are writing to you, do they not see your name in the thing? They know, right? Your company website or
Yeah,
something
on the
definitely
job
has your.
posting, yeah, mostly they know,
Yes.
they should know, yeah, but
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
people just write as an hiring
Uh,
manager.
yeah, I know. I know. I know that I have seen emails like that, dear this team, or dear hiring manager, or the dear this, that, as if, this is not a person. You're not writing to the post of the person. You're writing to the person, and as much as possible, people should write. But yeah, I'm aware people do not write, and I'm saying they should write, right? That is respectful. What do you think is more respectful, writing your name or calling you hiring manager?
Of course, the name, ma'am.
Um,
What do you think
no,
is more respectful and polite? Hmm.
for me, both, I mean, as a hiring manager, because I'm the hiring manager, and if they write, it is okay for me.
You're okay with it. Okay, if you're
Yeah,
okay
I'm
with
okay
it,
with it.
fine. But conventionally, it shouldn't be the case. You should be addressed by the name. That's more respectful. Okay, addressing people by name is name means you acknowledge them, right? Okay. Anyway, someone, this is done. So your colleague emails, the third one, your colleague emails you for the transfer of an urgently required document. Please study the situation. It is your colleague, but then emails you for the transfer of an urgently required document.
We can use dear with the name.
Yes, ma'am. Dear and
So,
the name.
yeah, dear and the name, right? So you use the second category, which is formal, not extremely formal because you know each other, but still it's formal because of the nature of the issue that you're trying to address. The issue is important. The purpose is more, something that needs some attention and needs a call for action on that. So you're going to keep it formal. Okay. Third one, fourth one. A journalist writes to you to know the details of a workshop that your organization would conduct.
I'll go with dear Mr. and their
Hmm.
name, last name.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
most respectful manner
the
in
most
the
respectful
politeness.
manner, right? Again, because this is not about hierarchy, but this is about familiarity. You don't know the person, right? This is person who's external to your organization, right? And trying to seek some information on something that's going to happen within your organization. So yes, the most respectful or the most formal, not respectful, the most formal version of the salutation needs to be used here. Dear, followed by title, followed by the full name or the last name of the person. Right. Last one, you have to write an email to confirm your colleague's presence for an internal meeting. This can have multiple answers, by the way. That last one.
I think, ma'am, here it's not required, so I'll just simply I will not write it.
Hi, hello, can we
Yeah,
ask?
that's it. Yeah, hi. I will be because I know this person. So I'll say hi,
Uh,
hi only.
okay. If you know the person, colleagues, it's a team meeting. You can say hi, hello. That's not a problem. But what
Yes.
other options do you have? You have, I think it says colleagues specifically, which means there are more than one member involved.
So, ma'am, but it's an internal meeting, right? So probably,
Yes, it is.
which means that we know each other. So probably
Hmm.
hi all. If I can write hi
Ah,
all.
yes, yes, yes. Hi all or hi everyone or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, that is what I'm looking for.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry. I thought probably.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
huh, huh, yeah. And rare cases, people also would say dear all. Okay, depends on the personality of the one who's writing also. Sometimes people prefer keeping it formal because formal is also safe, that's why, right? So no one would say that, oh, why did he as opposed to someone, it's less common for someone to say that, oh, why did this person just say hi and hello over saying that, this person said dear all. So for keeping the choice safe, usually people prefer going formal. So it's not uncommon for us to see people writing, even for, even if it is something like an internal meeting and you know each other, it's not very uncommon to see people saying dear all. Okay. Although hi all and hi everyone also works, right? Doesn't matter. Okay. Uh, oh my God, what happened? Yeah. Okay. This is again a very simple activity. Before we close, I think you can do this, and then there's one more exercise on formal writing. Can you read this thing? Look at the following ways of beginning an email. Number them from 1 to 4 according to how formal you think the beginnings are. 1 is the most formal and 4 is the least formal. What do you think is the order from 1 to 4? 1 being the most formal and 4 being the least formal.
Ma'am, the second uh, is the
Hmm,
most formal, and then
correct.
dear Satya, and then
Hmm,
hi Lal, and the least formal is Sheila.
cheap. So that is 2, 1, 3, and 4. Is that the order
Yes, ma'am.
of decreasing formality, right? From
Correct.
2 to 1 to 3 and then 4 in the order to decreasing formality, right? Okay. Uh, oh, then you have rewrite the following sentences in formal style. Yes. We'll close with this. We'll look at these 6 questions and then we'll close for tomorrow. Sorry, close for today, and then we'll take up the other thing because they are all on subject line that we'll do tomorrow. Anyway, I have not discussed the subject line with you, so we'll take that up tomorrow. Yeah, can we do this one? The first question, we got the goods yesterday. How do you convert that sentence into a formal sentence?
Ma'am, we have received the goods
Hmm.
yesterday.
We have received the goods yesterday. Yeah, good enough. Some people may also change the word goods, but I agree, not extremely important. You can say we have. So the most important word that requires a change when you're writing in a formal style is, I think, the verbs. Right? Verbs have to be very formal. everything else is, I think, secondary. Whether you should change goods to something like products or something, that's a different thing. Nouns do not come higher up in the formality order. It's the verbs. So whenever you have to change something into a formal style, uh, your focus has to be on the verb of the sentence, right? See, the verb is formal. So yeah, we have received the goods yesterday. We have received the products yesterday. Some people will also change the word yesterday to say we have received the products the previous day, right? All of these things you can say, but I would say we have received. As long as the verb is formalized, I think everything else is fine. We can adjust with the bit of an informality involved there. How about the second one? We want to ask about your new product.
We would like to inquire about your new
Ah,
your new
we would
product.
like
Yeah.
to inquire. Yes, want changes. We would like to inquire about your new product. Okay, we would like to
Probably
inquire about.
can we write, ma'am?
Hmm.
We would like to know more about your new product.
We would like, but then you're changing the thing. No, we would like to ask and know is a different thing. Inquiry is a little different from just knowing the product. But yeah, maybe you can, but it's not exactly the same. There's a bit of a difference in that. Okay, inquiring and knowing about the product are two different things. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, which means we are assuming that there are going to be more questions in that email. This is just one line of that, right? If it's an inquiry, there'll be more specific things in that. Knowing is more general. It's like, oh, tell me something about yourself. Type. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably for specification, then of course
Yeah. Yeah.
I should write inquire, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah. Inquire. So, say for
yeah,
example, you want to purchase what is it? Say a heater for your
correct.
offices,
Yeah.
right? So you're trying to know the product specification, and that specification could be the price point, could be the unit wise consumption, electric consumption for that. If that is what you're more uh, concerned about, if that is the question about, then it's an inquiry. It's not about knowing the product. That's the difference. Okay. Right. Third one, we're sorry that the order was late. This everyone is familiar because we often get these emails from, you know, uh, companies like Amazon or Flipkart. That
We
We
apologize
apologize for the
for your
delay.
delay in your order.
we apologize for the delay in the order, or yeah, yeah, we apologize
Can we
is
write?
fine.
We can apologize for. Do we need to write delay here, or we can skip delay for the inconvenience?
But what kind of inconvenience? It's specifically because it's late, right?
Okay. For
Yeah.
the late delivery, we apologize for
Hmm.
the uh,
Hmm.
for any inconvenience caused due to the late delivery.
But why do you have to write
Okay.
so much?
Yeah.
And you can simply say that we
Yeah.
apologize for the delay in the order,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Got it.
Delay in the delivery. Yeah. Okay, now this one, fourth one, let me know if the date is okay. You can change it a bit, you don't have to follow the same sentence word order or the style. You're free to change it to make it formal any way you want.
Would say please share your availability. Uh,
Please share your availability. Um, Not a great way of writing it in the formal way. It specifically says dates, right? So you needn't remove the word dates from the sentence, but you can of course use availability in some sense. But you can do thing. You can either convert this into a question sentence, an interrogative sentence, or keep it declarative and then work around it.
then are you available on so and so date? Does that make
Okay,
sense?
that's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's possible. You could also say, could you please let me know if the uh, date mentioned works for you, right? That's one way. Or you could
Yes.
alternatively also say, could you please confirm your available dates, right? Your availability or the date of availability, anything, right? All of that is possible. If I'm going to convert this into a declarative sentence, then I think it's a little difficult. You can say, I would like to know I would like you to confirm the dates that you're available on, right? So these are all different ways in which you can, so two ways, either you change this into, in this form, let me know this is an imperative sentence. And imperatives are not considered formal enough for professional writing. So either you change it into a question sentence, like I told you, those 2, 3 options that we looked at, or a declarative sentence, which could begin with I would also be obliged, or I would be grateful, or I would like to know. All of those can also be used to convert that into a declarative sentence and then, you know, write the same thing about the availability of dates. Okay. Then the fifth one, if you need any more help. Now, this is a commonly used sentence in professional emails. It's not informal, but it's not very formal also. If you need any more help, how do you convert? So the problem is not with the structure of that sentence. It's you have to make some changes on few words in that, right? If you need any more help, how can you change that?
Should you require furthermore? Yeah.
Should you require any further assistance, right?
Furthermore
Should you
assistance.
require any further assistance? Further assistance, you don't have to furthermore, further assistance. Any further assistance, kindly write back to us. Okay. Write to us, not write back to us, write to us. Okay. Should you require any further assistance, kindly write to us. Then the last one, I can't wait to see you. I
I
can't
look
wait to see
forward
you.
to seeing you.
I look forward to seeing you. Or another way, a lot of people would say eagerly. I would say, please do not use that word too much in your formal emails, right? I eagerly await a response from your organization. Not required. Okay. Uh, Instead, you could simply use more simpler words like, I like the one that you just mentioned. I look forward to meeting you soon, or seeing you soon, or I like, or I would be grateful if you could we could meet at the earliest, right? All of these should be the one that's preferred over. Please avoid using that word eagerly. Eagerly is not something that fits the professional language. Keep it more around words like earliest, or grateful, or obliged. That should work better. Right. I had a few more sentences on this, but I think that we'll do tomorrow. This one, if you're able, keep in mind that when you're converting to a formal sentence in professional writing, your target should be the verb. Don't forget that. Change the verb first. Everything else, I think people can still manage with, but the verb needs to be changed to a more formalized version of their existing time, right? Convert them from the usual conversational style to something that is formal. Okay. All right. I think we can call it a day for today. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll continue with the structure of the email, now this time on the subject line. Everything else, I don't think we'll need a lot of time discussing. But subject line, composition of a subject line, I think we need some time to discuss that. Okay. And then we'll come back to doing the rest of the activities. We have some questions on writing effective subject lines, and then finally, I think on the structure and format, so you will have an exercise wherein you will have to make some editing. You have to do some editing to that, okay, for all language and structure and everything for the professional email. And then finally, the emails, 2 emails. That's where we'll close this. Okay. All right. I think we're done for today. We'll meet you again tomorrow. 4. Yeah. Anybody? Any question?
Ma'am, can you please share your email ID?
Oh, yeah. Just a moment. I'll do that. Yeah, it's in your chat. Yeah, Parveen, question?
Yes, ma'am. See, ma'am, in the so we get some assignments during during the course. So how to cook a story. That this is what I struggle a lot. As in,
Hmm.
say I have a situation, and then I need to
Hmm.
write upon something.
Hmm.
So when I do not know, so I know little bit. So because I know the instruction given to me, say I need to write something in 200 words, but
Hmm.
how to cook a story? This is. Could you just help me in that, because I always struggle. Because say in the last session also, I took almost 2 hours to think about it. Then I started writing.
What was the session on again? I do not understand. This is a prompt that is given to you to write a
Yes,
story, or is it
yes.
something that
That was an email that I need to write.
email? Okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Say
So this is, see, how to do that. I don't think, as far as emails are concerned, they give you anything that is, you know, how do I put it? That is unfamiliar to you, right? Some of these things are very commonly writ. I don't think they give you anything that you cannot think about, right? Usually,
like, ma'am,
usually it is
that
something that is
question
related to your
was
work. Huh.
I'm sorry, the question was, as in, I need to write an email to probably to one of the employer
Huh.
who is interested in hiring some interns in their organization. So this
Hmm.
was the question, and of course I have I have learned. So I wrote that I know Python. I
Uh-huh.
have I know
This is
some data visualization skills. So
uh-huh.
see, for so I need to how do I come up with such an idea, as an that I need to write all this? Am I able to
That's
explain, ma'am?
Hello,
I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say. Yeah.
ma'am.
One second, Tanish.
Yes, ma'am. See,
Yeah.
say any say I
I
say
think your question is about how do you add content to your email? Is that
correct,
the
correct. Yes,
question?
ma'am.
Huh?
Yes. How do I
Okay.
add contact? What is relevant? What is irrelevant? That I want to
Hmm.
distinguish, so that I can write something which makes sense. So in order to write that email,
Yeah.
I wrote a couple of emails. Then I selected, okay, this is the final that I'm
Hmm.
gonna submit. This
Hmm.
is what
Hmm.
happened.
Hmm. Okay. So see, first of all, to decide on what content fits or not, the first point that you need to identify from the question is, uh, what am I supposed to write about? What's the purpose, right? They might give you a lot of information, but then the key thing lies in that one sentence which tells you, write an email to this person about so and so. So that one line, right? That is what will help you understand or decide on what goes into the content of your email. uh, to build the premise or to give you some clues, they might give you several things, that you are an intern working so and so, where you have the specialization, all of those. But what is relevant to the mail that you're writing solely comes from that one single sentence which defines the purpose. Okay. So your concentration should be more based on that. You write that first, and whatever things that you want to add to it becomes your secondary thing. In email, at least the judgment is based on that. Okay. So has the person been able to communicate the purpose clearly? Has that purpose line been properly communicated in the email, right? Have I written, why am I writing this email, right? What is the reason I'm writing to you? Because see, mostly in the professional domains, do they want, will they read everything else that you write? It depends on them, based on whether they're interested in your purpose. So if your purpose is not defined clearly, mostly what happens is people will not read any further, right? most likely, unless of course you are in HR or something, right, where you have no other way, you have to sit and read. Um, that one line, that one purpose line that you write needs to clearly communicate why the hell are you writing it in first place, to put it plainly across, right? So if I am someone who is sifting through say 100 emails a day, I will choose whether I should continue reading based on whether you have been able to tell me clearly why you wrote this to me. So that you need to be a little careful about. So if you're seeking a job, if you're seeking a job in a certain particularly if you're seeking a job, you can't simply write that I am writing this email to you to inquire for a job at your company so and so. That's an incomplete purpose line. You have to tell them what exact job are you looking for, which post are you looking for, right? So right there, if they have an opening in that area, then of course they'll read further. If not, then it's a general email. They are not going to waste time. They may, again, it depends on the person, right? If I'm busy, I will say, no, okay, no time. I don't want to read any further. If I'm relatively free, then I might even decide to read it further. So purpose lines are the most important one. And adding content to your email, of course, once you have defined that purpose, you need to choose between what is the most important thing there. So say you talked about data visualizations, right? So there are several kinds of that. What is more trending? What is more, you of course have read the job description before you have decided to apply or decided to write to that. You pick up
Yes,
the
ma'am.
keywords from that description and put them in your email, right? Because that is what they're looking for. And you are going to write and convince them that I have these things that you are looking for. So you will pick and choose the words that your job description mentions, and push that forth. You front it more than anything else. The final part, when you're writing the email, the things that you want to add from your side should always come at the end. In the beginning, you write about what the company is looking for. This only improves your chance of them calling you for a job, right? Because you exactly fit the job description that they have given. So try to mimic the language that they have used in the job description. Polish it a bit, of course, but keep the message, keep the content, keep the choice of words similar in fashion to what the job description asks. This is to convey that you are a fit enough candidate for that. And the same thing applies for any other purpose of email writing also, whether it's to seek a job or whether you're writing an inquiry email or whether you're writing a promotional or a marketing email. You highlight what your company wants you to highlight, or you highlight what the company wants from you as an employee there. So mimic their language, whatever they have put, and then add your part to it. Okay. So give a little less importance to what you think you are. You give more importance to what you want them to think you are. That's how writing works. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Fine. We'll discuss a bit more tomorrow on the emails and the aspects. Thank you for joining in today. We'll talk to you tomorrow again. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, everyone,
Thank you.
for joining.